Trying to time my visits to the mailbox downstairs just as she got home from work was considered creepy by my best friend. He couldn't get over why I had such a tough time just going up to her and ask her about her day or whatever. But we did have some time to make small talk here and there. The last time, I complimented her book bag. She chuckled a little and asked if I wanted one, that she actually bought it from her friend's small shop in the downtown area. I nervously asked her if we could go on Friday because it was my day off, but I felt the wind knocked out of me when she said that she couldn't and started to walk away. But then I held my breath as she stopped, turned toward me, and asked if Saturday morning would work for me. I said yes far too quickly as my eyes started shining. She asked what my unit number was, and I swear I nearly forgot, distracted by her big green earrings poking through her curly dark hair. 138, I said. Are you asking me? She said, laughing. Well, I live in 238, right above yours. Cool, I'll knock on your door in the morning. I'll see you around, she said, as she walked over to the staircase, not the elevator. I pretended to go through some junk mail right there in front of the entrance of the building, daydreaming about what I could possibly talk to her about when Saturday came around. I was feeling so happy that it's still difficult for me to think about that scene. Yet I play it over and over in my head. I was up at 6 in the morning that Saturday, unsure of the time when Maddie would be knocking on my door. But at exactly 9:01 a.m., I heard the gentle knocking on my door with the light sound of her bracelet jiggling. I tried to hide the smile that I had and try not to act too eager. I assumed we would walk to the downtown area, which was only about a 20-minute walk. But instead she said that she had been feeling strange and tired lately, so we walked over to her car, a black Corolla, and drove down the street. The day was great. I wasted $40 on a book bag I didn't need, and we even got lunch at a sandwich shop. I liked the way she laughed and the way she listened. I miss her. We exchanged phone numbers and hung out late into the night sometimes, making dinner, watching movies. Everything that I felt I should have lived through as a teenager, but was living now as a single guy in his late 20s, joking like little kids and worrying about silly things with her. When she told me she was relocating for her job, I was devastated. The way she told me was so normal to her, I'm not sure if that hurt more. But she asked if I could help her move her things, and I agreed. What are you doing Saturday morning? She asked. And so it was settled. I went to my friend's house that Friday to talk about life and Maddie, who my best friend Ben kept calling the lady in the most ridiculous tone you have ever heard. I can't even pronounce it anymore, but just take my word for it. I got home late, but I couldn't fall asleep. I kept thinking about Maddie's call to let me know that she was ready for me to help her move her boxes down to the moving truck. But that call would never come. I thought about texting her around noon that Saturday, running a whole movie in my head where she felt bad about leaving me behind, so instead, she decided to quit her job and move in with me. But the truth was much worse. I finally sent her a text around 8 p.m. Could she have met maybe the following Saturday? But she didn't reply to my text. I went up to her apartment around 10 p.m., but found the lights off as far as I could tell from the gap under her door. I called her from outside, but it went to voicemail. I went back to my apartment thinking about Maddie and how I should probably confess how badly I liked her and wished for her to stay. I went to bed lost in thought. They say that we should leave with no regrets in life, right? But just as I was falling asleep, around 1 a.m. by this time, I heard the long sound of furniture being dragged across the floor above me. Then boxes being dropped, pans crashing to the floor. I put on my clothes as fast as I could and took a look at my hair in the mirror before going upstairs. And the lights were still off. And then I leaned into the door to listen for any signs of Maddie being awake. But it was dead silent. I was about to call her name, but I remembered how late it was, so it would be better if I just called her phone instead. Except I had forgot my cell phone in my room. I figured it would be best to knock, as I instinctively grabbed the doorknob with one hand in order to knock with the other. Then I noticed that the door wasn't completely shut and easily swung open. "Maddie?" I asked. No response. I reached for the light switch, my eyes fixed on the window without the curtain right on the living room. I thought I saw Maddie standing by it. "Maddie?" I asked again, as the light turned on. Maddie was gone, but the place looked trashed. Had someone broken in? The couches were flipped over, the cabinets all wide open, and the lamps were on the floor. I walked around the apartment to search for Maddie. The bathroom, her bedroom, the closets, but Maddie was gone. I was worried about what I had just seen, but instead of calling the police, I ran back downstairs to get my phone and called my friend, who was probably half asleep as he yelled at me to hang up and call the police. Right? What was I thinking? I called 911 without any idea of what I was going to say, but finally said that I was worried about my friend, that her apartment had been trashed and that she was nowhere to be found. I gave the address, my name, and phone number, and was told that an officer would be over in about 10 minutes. The next 2 hours were a blur. The police arrived and confirmed her name, found her photo, radioed back to each other, and confirmed her death with me. They asked if I knew any of her relatives. Maddie had crashed on the highway. She died on impact the night before. A few people, some of her family I assumed, came by the following week to take the things out of her apartment. I saw them pack everything in the moving van and drove away. I was the one who was supposed to help her move. But at night, I still hear the furniture above me, though the place has been empty for over 2 months. The sounds of pans, boxes, and heavy furniture moving across the floor still wake me up. I was supposed to help her move. The creepiest thing that ever happened to me was back in high school. It happened back in the day when everybody used flip phones and we texted the old-fashioned way, with a number pad. I used to talk to my girlfriend on the phone late into the night, until we ran out of things to talk about and yet always found a way to keep talking, though sometimes one of us would end up falling asleep on the phone. I could tell when she was sleepy and always tried to find a way to wrap up the conversation, but she refused to admit that she was tired. Anyway, this one time she fell asleep. I was about to hang up when I heard the distinct sound of a radio hissing, almost whistling. It was like a song. That's when I heard the voice of a man say, "Well there, you're not going to hang up, are you?" I was so scared to say anything else because the voice was so far away and full of static that I knew that someone had been listening to our conversation. "Hello?" I muttered. "Hello," it replied back. "Who is this?" I asked. "Don't you know?" it said back. Then I listened as the whistling sound faded, and all I could hear was the sound of Sylvia's breath over the phone. I hung up and called her back to wake her up. "Sylvia, I just heard something." "What?" she asked, sounding more confused than me. I explained to her what I heard, and then she asked if I was sure of what I was talking about. When I confirmed, she stopped talking. "Did you fall asleep again?" I asked. "No," she replied. Then I asked her what was wrong. "That's what you say when you pretend to fall asleep on the phone," she said in a whisper. "What? Pretend to fall asleep on the phone?" I asked her what she meant, and thinking about it still sends chills down my back. She did the voice saying the phrase I have never said, the phrase she insists I say to her over the phone. "Well, there. You're not going to hang up, are you?" Through the static, as the whistling fades away.